The fear of rejection is a very intuitively primal thing. Way back when we were. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. As you can probably tell, today what I want to do is I want to sit down with you and talk about how I stopped caring about what other people think. Many of you may not know this, but I actually used to be incredibly insecure. I used to really worry about what others thought of me, and it used to stop me from doing a lot of the things that I wanted to do in life, and it used to stop me from really being the person that I wanted to be. But through my own personal development journey, I have come to really find some tools and some strategies to stop caring what other people think, which has inevitably helped me achieve more in life. Also, recently I sat down and I asked my Instagram audience, what's the number one thing stopping you from feeling confident? And so many of the responses were centered around, I'm afraid of judgment, I'm worried about what people on the internet think, I'm worried about what my friends and family think. And it just breaks my heart that so many of you out there aren't taking the action necessary to achieve your goals because you're afraid of what others might think. So today, I hope to impart some of my wisdom around this topic. If you do enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And like always, if you have any extra tips that you wanted to share with this community on how to stop caring about what people think, please do leave them in the comments below. And of course, if you are new around here, why not consider subscribing? So before I get into my actual tips around how to stop caring what other people think, I wanted to share my story with you a little bit because I think a lot of people have the misconception that I've always been this super confident person. And whilst yes, I've always had a side of me that is incredibly outwardly confident, what you may not realize is that before I started my personal development journey, specifically when I was in my early 20s, I actually struggled massively with self-confidence and self-worth. I used to have a lot of friends. I used to really put myself out there a lot and meet new people and go out all the time. But the reality is that in so many of my friendship situations, I felt like I was surrounded by people, but nobody really knew me. I never really was able to show who I was fully because I was just so concerned with my personal image. I tried to act way cooler than maybe I thought I was, or I tried to act more badass or whatever it may be, but I really did just try to act differently than who I actually was. I never really felt comfortable being myself in so many of these situations because I was so worried that people were going to judge me. And of course, when you do act as somebody else, when you stop yourself from being who you truly are, being excited about the things you're truly excited about and wanting to go after the things you truly want to go after, it becomes exhausting. And for so long, I was so unhappy with who I was being because I know that I wasn't being my true, authentic self. But the reality is, I started blaming all of these people around me. I started thinking that maybe these people aren't good people, when in reality, the only person that truly needed to change was me. I needed to change the perception that I had of myself. I needed to use the tips that I'm just about to share with you today to finally start loving myself, because that was the way that I truly was able to stop caring what everybody else thought and finally start taking action towards my dreams. So wherever you are right now, if you're someone who's just riddled with self-doubt and fear of rejection, please do know that even the most confident people that you follow online probably have some type of past feeling exactly the same way that you're feeling right now. And so hopefully that gives you some hope that you too can change it to start living a more authentic life and to start going for the things you truly want out of it. So let's jump into some of the tips, some of the things that I've actually physically done to stop caring what other people think. So the first thing that I really did to stop caring what other people think was that I focused on making myself proud. Here's the thing, I think where a lot of people get tripped up with this is they try to make themselves feel accomplished. And they say to themselves, I'm not going to care about what other people think when I have this, or I achieve that, or I do this. But that's such a trap, because goals and accomplishments and status, they're always an ever-moving target. What I did, in fact, was that I tried to really work on my sense of self-worth through the feeling of pride. Feeling proud of myself for the person that I am, rather than all of the things that I have achieved. So what I did was, first of all, I really got connected with my values. What's important to me in life. For me, it's things like connection, fun, freedom, simplicity, contribution. And what I did was I tried to align myself with these things. Am I being a good friend? Am I being a good family member? Am I making my life as simple as possible? When I've truly started living in alignment with these values, I started to feel proud of myself. When I started going for things in life, when I started working towards my goals and visions, whether or not I achieved anything or not, I felt proud of myself. When I started challenging myself and doing the things that I was most afraid of, like motorbike riding, and I started all these different hobbies, I felt proud of myself. The good thing is that pride doesn't necessarily need to be contingent on outcome. And so you can feel proud of yourself even just for trying something. The more proud I actually felt of myself, the less I actually cared what other people think, because I got truly connected with my own opinion. And when I got connected with my own opinion and realized that at the end of the day, that's the only one that truly matters, other people's opinions just didn't have the same weighting as they did before. When we're constantly seeking outward validation, and that outward validation means more to us than our own, we're always going to care what other people think, and we're always going to stop ourselves from taking action. But when you can feel proud of yourself and you can validate yourself through that pride, it's a lot easier to just keep moving forward. The second thing that really helped me stop caring what other people think is that I realized that everybody is struggling just as much as I am. Not to say I'm struggling all the time, but the reality is everybody is on their own path and everybody is on their own journey. And one thing I actually realized is that most people are thinking about themselves. I think there's this Dale Carnegie quote, I can't exactly remember what it is, but Dale Carnegie, the man who wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People, he has this quote that 95% of the time people are consumed with their own thoughts. And so we're out there in the world thinking, I can't go live on Instagram, I can't start this business, I can't try this hobby because I'm so worried about what everybody else is going to think. But the reality is, and the research shows, that most people are thinking the exact same thing. They're thinking about themselves. And what you've got to do is you've really got to put yourself in other people's shoes. I know a lot of people are afraid to do things by themselves, for example, or they're afraid to try new hobbies because of the way that they look. And I can only give a personal example with my motocross. When I'm at the motocross track, I'm not looking at anybody else thinking, oh my God, they're not good at jumping, or how are they riding like this? I'm not sitting around judging everybody else. I'm thinking about myself and my own progression in this sport that I love. And so I could stop myself from trying motocross because I was worried that all the people at the track are going to be focusing on me. But the reality is that just like I'm not focusing on them, they're not focusing on me. Unless, of course, you are focusing and judging other people, then sometimes that's maybe something you want to work on first. If you find yourself incredibly judgmental of other people, then you're probably always going to have that same feeling because you're doing it, they're doing it. So I would work on that first. But for most people, you're not out in the world judging other people for being out by themselves, or something that they're wearing, or something that new that they're trying, some skills that they're trying to progress in. So we really have to realize that everybody is on their own path. Everybody is thinking about themselves. And when we can realize these things, truly understand that people aren't as focused on us as we think they are, we can free ourselves from the shackles that is everybody's focused on me, and if I fail, then it is going to be catastrophic. Now, my next tip, and I know I talk about this a lot, but for me, one of the biggest things that really changed my relationship with caring about what other people thought of me is that I totally fell in love with myself. And honestly, falling in love with yourself is one of the best things that you can do, not just because you have fear around judgment and caring what other people think, but it will just seep into every area of your life. I made an entire video on this. You can have a look at it on the link on the screen right now. But falling in love with yourself is one of the best things that you can do for your fear of worrying about what other people think. The way that I see it, it's like this. You know when you fall in love with someone and, you're so just enamored by them, you just adore them and you just want to spend all of your time with them? You can get to that point with yourself. But the reality is, when you're in love with someone and when you truly admire someone, all of their negative qualities, all of the qualities that may be judged by other people, you just don't care about. If they try something and fail, you still adore them. If they make a mistake, you still adore them. You probably adore them more for going out there and being brave to try that thing. You're not going to judge them because you love them and you adore them. And so that is the point that you need to get to with yourself. You need to do the self-love practices. And again, I urge you to go watch that video to completely fall in love with yourself. So much so that what other people think just has no weighting because you're so inspired by yourself. And I know for a lot of you that maybe don't have a great relationship with yourself, being inspired by yourself is something that seems like light years away. But I promise you, you can get to that point. I really didn't have a great relationship with myself. I used to be so incredibly judgmental of myself. I used to judge myself for everything that I thought, everything that I wanted. I used to be so mean to myself in my own mind. See, what happened over time is just that my opinion, again, like I said in the beginning, was the only one that truly mattered. And so again, I really urge you to go watch that video because if you want to not care about what other people think, your journey to self-love is one of the most important things that you can do for that. But also, in addition, I do have a book recommendation that really helped me. It is called Women Don't Owe You Pretty by Florence Given. This is one of those books that is just like the Bible for self-love and also the Bible for not caring about what other people think. So definitely go check that one out. And then so the final thing that really helped me stop caring about what other people think. And when I say other people, I'm particularly talking about the internet or the people I went to high school with, all these people that seemingly stop us from putting ourselves out there online and going after our goals, is that you have to have people around you that you know are gonna love you no matter what. The reality is that the fear of rejection is a very intuitively primal thing. Way back when we were in the hunter-gatherer stages, like if we got rejected or if we weren't accepted, then that could have been a matter of life or death. And so it is very intuitive to us to worry about what other people think. But the reality is we just don't have the same kind of dangers these days. Going live on Instagram, starting a YouTube channel, starting a business, even if these things don't work out, it's not a matter of life or death, and yet we still treat it in that same way. And so for me, being able to go out there and put myself out there online so regularly and try all these different hobbies and make a fool of myself constantly on the internet, opening myself up to criticism and judgment, the only way I'm so comfortable doing that is because I know that I have a solid group of people in my life, my bunker buddies, if you will. If the world was ending, I know they were going to be there for me. I have this solid group of people in my life that I know are going to love me and care for me no matter how weird I am. The reality is, if we're going to get into it, we really don't need anyone to survive, but I think that we all have this deep desire for connection. And so knowing that no matter what you do, there is still going to be this tight-knit group of people, whether they be friends or family or loved ones, we choose the people that we connect with in our lives. But just people that are going to be there no matter what, when you have those people in your life, it's a lot easier to stop caring what all of the other people think. And obviously in this case, I'm particularly talking about when it comes to putting yourself out there online and going after things in a public space, which is a lot of what I know this community is trying to do. Start businesses, become creatives, whatever it is that you want to do. Knowing that you have people that have your back no matter what can be one of the best things that you can do to stop caring about what the world thinks. And then when it comes to stopping caring about what that close-knit group of people think, that work is on you. And that comes down to the self-love, realizing that they're thinking about themselves just as much as you are thinking about you, and getting yourself to the point where you feel proud of yourself, so whatever anybody else is thinking is none of your business and it shouldn't really matter. The last thing I'd like to say is that this is definitely a process. The more that you actually put yourself out there and the more that you realize and prove to yourself that it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be, the better it is in the long run. You know, fear is like one of those things that the more that you replace it with accomplishments and challenging yourself and feeling proud of yourself and taking action and moving towards your goals and all the mini wins that you have through life, the less loud it actually is, the more it moves into the background of your life. Before you start anything new, of course you are going to have a lot of fear, particularly fear of rejection and fear of what other people think, but the more you do something, like with anything, the easier it becomes. So I hope these tips were helpful. I hope that it gave you something to think about, but you really have to just go out there and fall in love with yourself, be proud of yourself, realize that other people aren't so focused on you because they're focused on themselves, and having that tight-knit group of people around you. These are what helped me. I'm sure there's lots of other tips, and like I said, if you have any, definitely share them in the comments below. But those are the things that really helped me, and I hope they were really helpful for you today. I really want to thank you so much for hanging out with me, and of course, I will see you in the next video.